Hi, this is Arun from arunsyoga.in. I'm a software engineer who mostly work with Node.js, PHP, and other backend technologies. And I'm an open source contributor as well. I'm a tantric by birth in a family which is passing tantric wisdom from generations to generations, from past 2000 years of legacy, and got lucky to travel across India and got chances to study under various gurus from different backgrounds and disciplines. You could connect with me in arunsyoga.in. Here I'm helping you to design a divine lifestyle which is based on Vedic astrology, tantra, and other yogic system of understanding. Hi, all. This is the second part of our special podcast series, episode number 2, The Astrology of East and West. On the previous podcast, Sheila, Western astrologer, was reading my chart in a Western way. Link to that particular podcast is being given on the description. And at this podcast, I'm reading her chart on Vedic way. We will be soon doing another podcast in which we will be reading the chart of someone in Vedic way as well as Western way. So stay tuned for that. That could be a comparative study for many folks out there. However, welcome to podcast series episode number 2, Astrology of East and West. Yeah, hi Sheila. Thank you to become the guest for my podcast. And here we are gonna talk about your chart. What I'm seeing on your chart, and I know that you might be excited to know what is that happening in your chart. And as we have already discussed, the things which you have pointed out in my chart. In Western way, it's like it was like really good for me, and it was like given me a really better things about the life which I'm going through. And I came to Kerala this week because my grandma got died, as you have said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I came to Kerala from Tamil Nadu. Yeah, however, so I would like to show you your chart, which is in.
Oh, can I just say something?
Yeah,
I remember I said to you when I did your chart, people are going to die,
yeah,
people that are close
exactly.
to you. So um, I say I'm sorry, but I
No,
also
you don't
say
have to be sorry about that. It is like,
exactly.
yeah, it's the you said me like what you saw. Yeah, So
Yes. No, but
it's
at the
nothing
same
to do
time,
with you. It's nothing. I mean, it has nothing to do with you. It's like,
yeah, but she's in a better place. That's how I see it.
yeah,
Okay.
okay, yeah,
So you're going to tell me about my
yeah.
chart.
So I'm just gonna share my screen here.
Mm.
Come on. It's not opening. Yeah. So can you see this?
Yeah.
So basically, this is Hasta Nakshatra. So when we are seeing the astrological chart in Western way, there is 12 houses, and when there was ascendant in a particular house, in that particular area, there will be a group of stars, and there are 27 of them. Ascendant is pointing to a particular star, and that is one of them is Hasta. That is your star sign, which is, I think, which is not in Western astrology. However, this particular group of stars will create a kind of um uh, uh, nature to you. So the Hasta Nakshatra, or it is looks like Hasta. Hasta is the Sanskrit name, which is actually means hands. So the Hasta Nakshatra is like uh, it is gonna give more power to your hands. I mean, if you see in your body, the hands will be blessed in your body. Like it can heal people. It can. I mean, the hands will be having a divine entity on your body. That is what the Hasta Nakshatra which means. And there is a yoga, a spiritual practice which is exclusively for this particular nakshatra, that is called Nakshatra Yoga. This is like a Kundalini Yoga, which is a tantric kind of practice, which enables you to evoke the life force on you. So that is the Nakshatra Yoga. That video is available in this particular link, which you can see in my website, and you could actually follow that. That could actually give you more intensively. And there is Pancha Pakshi. There are 5 birds associated with this particular nakshatra, and the birds is being decided based on Shukla Pacha and Krishna Pacha. So Shukla Pacha, which means that it's a 0 to full moon. The when the moon rotates around the Earth, from 0 to full moon is called as Shukla Pacha, and full moon to 0 moon it is called as Krishna Pacha. So based on this Hasta Nakshatra, your bird is a crow. So how does it manifest in your life is like this, because crows are the birds which like to travel in a group. Yeah.
Yep.
So you believe in a group activity rather than going alone to something. You believe a group can do wonders, and you would like to move forward as a group. And this is the tree which is called Ambaram. Ambaram is the tree which actually as we human beings are not a special animal which is actually not belongs to nature. Like we have a soul, the similar way the trees and the things like that also got soul. So this particular tree resonate the frequency which you are into. Like how does it manifest in your life is like this: if you go near to this particular tree, you could actually connect with this tree very easily, and you could easily talk to this particular tree. This is a tropical plant. I don't know whether this is available in your country, but however, you could actually connect with this particular tree, and this tree resonate the same frequency of the Hasta Nakshatra which you are having. And this is how the group of stars looks like on the sky. This is how the Hasta Nakshatra. This is Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Lambda, and Epsilon Corvi. So this is how the nakshatra looks like in actual sky. And you fall into Devagana. Devagana means there are 3 ganas. One is human nature, another one is Asura, and another one is Deva. So Devagana is the people who believe in helping people and uplifting them. So it's like godly nature. So you belongs to this godly nature, and you believe you can uplift people, and you will get a kind of contentment from uplifting people, you know. And the Rajoguna, the guna which you are having in your nakshatra is Rajoguna. Rajoguna, which means that you like rajasic food, and you will be like more rajasic, like you like masalas in your food, and you like spicy food and things like that, and you like to spice up things in general. That is how the Rajoguna will manifest in your real life. And the Agni is your Buddha. There is five Buddhas according to the Indian system of astrology belief. There are five Buddha. So from that, Agni is your Buddha. How does it manifest in your life? Is like this: you have the immense capability to burn things, like. Whatever happening inside on you, whatever is get caught up inside on you, you can easily burn. If you look at on inside, you can burn it. And uh, in a relationship or whatever is happening around you, you will act like a fire. You like whether it is good or bad, you don't care, you can actually burn it out, like, and you can free yourself from the things which you got into. So that is one of the best quality you have. And you when you see, there is two halves existing in human soul. One is Shiva and another half is Shakti. So from that two half, Shiva is the major half on your body. So what does it how does it manifest is like, you believe, you destroy things, you can get angry like God Shiva very easily, you can get angry, you can destroy things. So this is something which you have to be aware of. Um, so there is the according to the Ayurvedic nature of your own existence is like, Vata nature is your dominant nature in Ayurvedic quality. So what does it means that you could be, there is a probability of you are getting sensitive to cold, so but if you come in contact with the cold and things like that, there is a probability that you get infected with diseases. So your god is Savitar. He is the god which is actually protecting that particular area of the sky where the Hasta Nakshatra is existing. And this particular consciousness is the god of inspiration, which means that you enjoy uplifting people. That is again a very good quality. And the Savitar is the god that offers this particular quality to you. And if you chant the mantra of Savitar god, what happens is like, in Tantra Vidya, the sounds has very important importance. So once you chant this particular sound in certain frequency, you can actually connect with this particular consciousness which is into that particular area of the existence, and you can actually ask help from this particular consciousness.
Oh, thank you.
um, so this is a kriya. Actually, we have seen the yoga for the Hasta Nakshatra. So the 30 minutes yoga, there is 10 minutes kriya. Kriya is actually Kundalini awakening things. So this kriya is exclusively for Hasta Nakshatra. And if you practice that, you could actually accelerate your life force. So this is the sexual position which is actually related to your particular nakshatra. There is 12 animal yoni, which is been related to 20, which is been distributed across 27 nakshatra, and this is something which this particular position that helps you to create an intimacy with your partner. This is from the Kama Sutra. The yoni is related to. Um, so this is all about your nakshatra. Then we will go to your chart now. So we have seen your nakshatra. So this is how your chart will looks like. It's actually different from how the I mean each house over here is like 30-degree each. Okay, so this is how the Eastern astrology looks like, and your ascendant is Aquarius. Um, I think what is your ascendant in Western astrology?
Pisces.
Yeah, so there is that is the difference between the, I mean, the 23-degree difference will be there with the Western astrology and Indian astrology. So let's see, the Rahu is your Tanu Bhava, which means that the house of the self. So the first house. So we consider the where is the ascendant, that is our first house, in which there is ascendant is staying along with the Rahu. So what does it means that uh, it is quite natural to come with obsessive occult practices and things like that in your life, because the in self there is Rahu staying along with ascendant. And the Dhana Bhava, there is Sun, Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter is staying, which means that Sun stays for the father, Mars is war, and Jupiter is wisdom. So how does it manifest in your chart is because it's like this way. The money or the wealth which you will be creating, or you could have you created in your life, is comes from your father, and you might be fought for the the wealth problems, like you could have filed any case in your wealth wealth situations, because Mars is also staying on the Dhana Bhava along with Jupiter, and the wisdom also helps you to create wealth. And Venus is staying on third house. So what does it manifest? How does it manifest is like this way, like you might be liking the things which comes to like the pleasure aspect of your life, you will be liking. It's like Sahaja Bhava. You will appreciate beauty, you will appreciate love, you will appreciate freedom, you will appreciate whatever the Venus, because the planet Venus is like it has a very bad name in Christianity, like they say it's Satan, like it's like whatever the best things which human beings is getting out of the life, people sometimes refers it to a satanic tendency, like it's in Islam also, it's in Christianity also. I mean, not all the Christians believes in that way. The like the tantric Christian Genosis, I think Genosis, something like that, one kind of Christianity is there, right?
Can I just ask you a question? You know, you said about my ascendant in Aquarius.
Yeah.
Do you have degrees like we have in Western astrology? Do you say it's in a 30-degree
Yes, yes.
sphere? So what degree is my ascendant? I'm just interested about that one.
Yeah. Wait 1 second. See, 320.
3.
320 degree.
Right. So can I just
It,
ask you, because it
it,
may not work,
it will be
but
like 200 something like that in 290 or something like that in Western.
okay, so like
What
in
is
Western astrology, we would be saying, okay, the planets are in this position and they are passing through this place. So when, with this chart, would the planets be passing my ascendant, the planets in the heavens now, or do you not do it that way?
we have that planetary transaction. We will come to there. Before that, we have something called Desha also.
Okay.
So right now we are into third house. We are discussing about your Sahaja Bhava. Their Venus is staying on the third house. Um, so the Sahaja, which means that you will be having a natural tendency of appreciating beauty, love, freedom, and things like that. That happens because Venus is staying on the third house, and Ketu is staying on the relationship house. The Yuvati house. What does it means is because like there could be relationship instability probably can occur in your life, you know. um, Maybe something misunderstanding and things like that, because Ketu is a Papa Graha, is a planet of not goodness. So staying on the seventh house, and the Dendra house, the moon, and along with Saturn. So it's really funny that sometime hard work, if you do hard work, sometime it will act against you, you know.
Yeah.
You can do the smart work. If you do the hard work, what happens is like it can act against you. If you that it's because Saturn is staying on the eighth house, which means that Saturn is the planet of hard working things. So the planet which is staying on the eighth house, which will actually give you bad result, and the moon also is staying on the eighth house. So the probably the relationship with the mother could actually affect her because of that. You know,
Hmm.
there is a probability of that also is there. So now we are very important aspect of the thing we are coming, like Sun, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn. These are the important, like so the sun is also strong in your chart. Jupiter, which is wisdom and appreciation of beauty and hard work. These four planets are so strong in your chart. So like sun is staying on the house of wealth, and along with Jupiter, and Venus is staying on the third house. So it's quite good. The wealth which comes to your life mostly through the knowledge and the connection with your father, or the somebody who is protecting, somebody who can protect you as your father. So this is how it happens in your life. The high energy planet is sun. So the rudraksha which you can wear is Ekamukhi rudraksha. That stands for the sun, and that rudraksha will accelerate the energy of sun on you. And right now, Budha, Mercury. So Buddha Padin. So Mercury is right now your planet. I mean the Desha. There is Deshas will be there. Moon will be 5 years. Mars will be 7 years. Rahu will be 18 years, and Jupiter will be 16 years. Saturn like so. That is how the Deshas will you will go through. So 5 plus 7 at the till the age of 5 there was Moon. 5 plus 7 is like uh, 5 12 till the age of 12 there was Mars, then Rahu. So from the chart the I can see something like this. Till the age of 5 mother was very important in your life. Then uh, till the age of 12 you it's generally natural in people's life. Then from the age of 12 there will be Rahu is coming. So what does this means is like you might be understood that you will be having a gift, and the occult nature or the something which is extraordinary which started to reveal to you from the age of 12 or 13, something like that, you know. That is where it will actually happens, because the Rahu Dasha comes from that age. Then 18 plus 12 is like 20, 30. After the age of 30 you got attracted to books which talks about wisdom. That because Jupiter comes from there. 30 46. After the age of 46 the Saturn Dasha. So like the generally the most of the problems happens in the age of I mean the situations which is being divided, or uh, the hard work, like the life is not fair to you. Those things has happened after the age of 46 or 47, something like that, you know. That will be lasting till the age of 64. So if you want something, I mean a long time you were fighting for is being got solved by the age of 64, or something like that has happened by the age of 63, 64 or 65 in that time. Then from there the Buddha is manifesting in your life. So right now the Buddha is ruling in your life. So yeah, this is the time for you to come into seeking conclusions and going more deep on you, like how do you go through all those things. So
Mm.
yeah, so Buddha starts at the age of 64.
Yeah. Okay, can I go back over all the things that you've said, because it is really fascinating, I have to say. I'm just trying to find the first page. You're talking about my hands, and I started to think only quite recently about my hands and healing and that kind of thing. I'm wondering if I need to develop that side of my personality or my gifts, whatever you want to call it. And I think, yeah, I've always been attracted to traveling in groups, things like that. It was about halfway through the reading that it really started to mean a lot to me. And it was when you started to talk about Agni, Agni, my Buddha, is that right? Because you said I have the immense capacity to burn stuff,
Agni is a
relation.
fire.
Yes, and that is so true, because in my life, I'm usually very calm, almost what's the word? Difficult to know in a relationship. You know, I keep my feelings to myself, and I spend a lot of time internally trying to work out how do I feel about this, what do I think about this, and then suddenly it will get too much for me, and I'll suddenly just say a lot of things very powerfully. And I think that I've realized over the years that I have this ability to burn other people, and they don't know what to do. They feel completely destroyed by what I've said. And yet to me, when I'm doing it, it seems, well, that's obvious, really. How come you didn't realize? So I've had to learn as I've got older to kind of manage that. But then I suppose the advantage of it is that you can't really mess with me. You can't really confront me and accuse me of something that I'm not capable of. You know, that I will always have an answer, and it will be a logical, powerful answer. And you also talked about me being very sensitive to the cold. And this is so true, because at the moment it's very, very cold in England. It's below freezing. And that's a hard time for me, because I have to take care of myself. Because if I get cold, I start to feel quite ill. So you were right about that. That you talked a lot about me uplifting people. And I think that everything that I've done in my life with work has been about uplifting people. From even when I was at university, I wanted to help people in some way. I started off thinking I'd like to be a social worker, but I never became a social worker. I became a teacher, and now I'm a therapist. And when I do astrology, I'm trying to uplift people. So in all those things, it would be meaningless to me if I worked in a shop. If you understand me, I would have to do something that would make people feel better. I get a lot of my sense of self is based on that, really. And then you talked about my father, and that was quite interesting, because my father actually came from a family that did have money, but he didn't get any of it. But the one thing that my father did do with money was when I was in trouble, or, you know, when I had very small children, I got divorced. And my father was the person who stepped forward and said, I will give you some money. It wasn't a lot of money, but he did help me. And then when I got back on my feet, I gave him back the money. And then later on, he gave me some more. And my father was very orientated towards inheritance, and also instilling in me that I needed to pass that inheritance to my children. And so as a result, and it was, you were talking about all these different ages. So it was after the time I was 46, before I was 64, a lot of, you could say, you said life wasn't fair at that time, and it wasn't. I went through some really big trials and tribulations, but the inheritance thing came in, because I suddenly discovered, to my surprise, that I had this big house and I didn't need it anymore. So I sold it and I gave half the money to my children. And so as a result, my children each have their own house. And the eldest one, the eldest boy, he would have had his own house anyway. But certainly for my daughter and my youngest son, that was a great help to them. And it was because of my father that I did it, because he instilled in me that idea of it's very important to have your own house and to have that security. It wasn't really about money, it was about security. So it's very true what you said about my father. And also the fact that you said, I've realized that wisdom creates wealth, because I started to realize that. And again, you pinpointed that with ages. You said after 30, I realized that. And that's very true. It was when I was 30 that I suddenly started to put all the pieces together and think, oh, I'm quite spiritual. Oh, I'm quite interested in all these alternative spiritual pathways and the psychic side, intuition, all that kind of thing. It was then that I started to really, really get interested and study it. And through that wisdom, I have created my own wealth. And also, you talked about hard work, and that is absolutely true about me. Because you said hard work goes against me. So I have to think a lot. I mean, I'm nearly 70 now and I'm still working because I am a hard worker. but I don't work every day because I'm too tired. So I have to learn to pace myself. And always, 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 I've worked very, very hard in my adult life. But if I, I have to have a day where I do absolutely nothing. You know, I just float around the house and I just look out the window and I look at the flowers and I listen to music and I just cut myself off from any kind of effort, because otherwise I would burn out. There's a real danger of that with me. And one of the things that you said, which was very true, is you said, I need to be smart with my work. Otherwise I just collapse. And that is absolutely true, that over the years, gradually from the age of 30, I realized, hold on a minute, I need to give this some thought. There's an easier way that I could do this. And I still think about that now. So because I get a lot of demands on me for readings, astrological readings, therapy, I have to say no to some people because it would be just too much for me. You know, I'd crash and burn, catch fire. And it's interesting that you talked about that whole fire theme with me, because a lot of people say about me that I'm like, there was a film years and years ago, it was called She. And of course, the first 3 letters of my name are Shelagh. And I don't know the whole film, but the woman just catches fire and disappears. She just becomes a pile of ashes. So that's me, if I'm not careful, you know. Saturn in the 8th and the moon in the 8th. That was interesting because you talked a lot about my father and the relationship with money with him. And it was such a big theme with my dad that he used to telephone me and ask me how much money I had in the bank. He's dead now, but I used to think, why does he not leave me alone? You know, so how much money have you got now and what are you doing with that? It was very much like that with him. I can laugh now in hindsight, but my mother, I didn't quite understand what you said about that. So you did later after that talk about wealth through knowledge again. So the thing that my mother gave me was an interest in learning. And she had a very psychic, sensitive, spiritual side to her. So maybe you were picking up on that, but I don't know if you could tell me a bit more, because I didn't really understand what you said about that. It was the only thing that I didn't understand. You did say she was very important up to the age of 5, which was true. And then you did talk about when I was 12. And that's very interesting, because I think it was at the age of 12, I went to a different school, which people often do in England, but I wasn't very happy there. And it was a school where you had to be very intelligent and you had to pass an exam to go there. But I found myself feeling very different to other people. And I only did well in subjects that interested me. If I wasn't interested, I didn't listen. And I had a lot of ups and downs at school as a result, because they were saying, she's so intelligent, why is she doing so badly with some subjects? But it was because I wasn't listening. It was almost like at that age, 13, 12, that sort of age, where it felt like I was setting myself apart in some kind of way, but I was too young to really understand. You see what I mean? So it was a difficult time for me. And I still speak to my friends from school, even now, on Zoom, and they all did better than me. But since I left school, I have done way better than them. I've passed more exams. I'm the only one that's got an MA. I'm the only one that writes books, that does all these things. They're all a bit housewifey and a bit dull. And I'm the one who says, did you know that idea and this idea? So I think it was, you're right, it started to happen then. But because I was so young, it was just upsetting.
No,
Because I felt,
the thing is, like, you were not so young. You have very old soul, you know. Your soul is
yeah.
much older than that what you are thinking, you know.
You know what I think when people say things like that. Oh, good, that's my last lifetime. I think, I'm not coming back. Unless I'm ruling the world, of course, because then I'd just burn everybody and they'd all have to right into submission. I know I have that ability to do that, you know, and it's always a shock to people because I can be so kind of peaceful and calm, and then suddenly, whoom, it's like, that's enough. I got the box of matches and I'm set it all alight. So all of that was absolutely spot on. What else am I looking at here? Yeah, I think I've talked about all of that stuff. Being smart. You got the stages correct. I'd like to know a little bit more about this stage that I'm in now from the age of 64, because I know that I'm in a different stage because it's been the happiest time of my life. I feel like I know who I am and nothing is going to shake that. And so I accept that I stand on the edge sometimes, you know. So if I'm talking to my school friends, for example, and I try to join them on their level. I try to say, oh, I crocheted a blanket. But I don't share my spiritual beliefs with them very much at all because they're Catholic, stuff like that, you know. I just say to them, oh, I went to the Catholic Church today and said these prayers. And then they look surprised. What? Sheila's still going to church? I say, well, I'd be just as happy if I went down to the Buddhist temple. It's all the same to me, you know. But some people find that idea very difficult. You know, they like to put people in a box. And as I've got older, since the age of 64, I'm quite happy not to be in a box. In fact, I know that I would be utterly miserable if I was in a box, baking cakes every Sunday. I can't do it. I bake a cake some Sundays or even on Wednesdays, but I can't be that archetypal woman. It would just make me feel stifled and imprisoned, you know. Yeah, so I'm quite interested what you said. What exactly, because you said there's a Buddha making, is a different Buddha now ruling my life. Did I understand that bit?
Was that
correct? Did you say it was a Buddha?
Buddha?
Maybe.
Buddha, yeah, Buddha. So basically, this is the Buddha. What's the English word for that? Mercury. Okay, the planet of speech. So what happens is like this is a time for you to get I mean, this is a time which after the age of 64 this will keep you to talking, keep you talking, you know. Like if you see if this thing, I mean, what I can see from the age of 64 to till the age of 67 or 68, you could have done public speaking. It could be started by the age of 63 or something like that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, at the time I was doing some more education, and then every so often I had to stand up in front of a lot of people and speak about a subject like intergenerational trauma, for example. I had to give a talk about that, but I'm not sure what the effect was because the place where I was learning was very, very traditional. And I was coming up with this existential idea, and that existential idea, and the tutor was, I don't understand what you're talking about. But if I stuck to their tradition, I was fine. So, yeah, I suppose I was doing more talking publicly then. But it's interesting that you talked about Mercury, because obviously I'm starting to write now. And these ideas have been rolling in my head for maybe 10 years, but I just haven't had time. I'm trying to discipline myself now, ready for tomorrow actually, because it's the first day of back to work after the festivities. And I don't want to say any more until I do it, if you understand me. I have to
Yeah.
do it now. But at the moment, Mercury is in my head, round and round and round, idea after idea
Yeah,
after
if
idea.
you go for that, because Mercury is staying on the second house, which is favorable for your wealth and things like that, and you are
Okay.
into Mercury, this thing. So if you go for that, this is the right time for you to go for that. You know.
Yeah, thank you. Because you see, Western astrology wouldn't have told me that.
Mm-hmm.
Western astrology tells me that it's a really good idea to close my doors and focus on these quiet activities, and writing. It's very much got that. But if I look and think about when would wealth come connected with that, it might not be for a few years. But then sometimes things, say if I published a book, I might not get a big response to it straight away, if you understand me. But I do feel it's the time to be doing that now. So thank you for all of this. It's been really brilliant. Oh, the only other question was about my mother. I just wondered what else you wanted to say about that, because I didn't quite understand it.
So
I think you said Moon and Saturn. I don't know if
yeah,
that
Moon
connects.
and Saturn is staying on the eighth house, which is actually
Yeah,
enemy's house. So there might be your mother is alive, no, na?
no, she died about 12 years ago.
So is there like a moon is staying? Wait a second. Moon is 5. So it was very important. Mother is like very important for you till the age of 5. I mean, that is the usually that happens in everybody's life, but yeah, there is nothing much in that. But the thing is like the thing which you can give more importance is like mother is staying on the eighth house, which is actually enemy's house, and moon is staying along with the Saturn. Yeah.
Okay, can I
So
tell you what I think that might mean?
what's that?
Now, I lived with my mother for about 12 years before she died, or she lived with me. She came to my house to live with me after my father died. And it kind of held me back a bit. So there's Saturn coming in, going against me. But I managed to work. I worked as an astrologer for the whole time that I lived with my mother.
So the thing is like it could be like 16, 18, 5 plus 7 is like 12, 20, 30, 46. Somewhere like 46 or 40, 44 or something like that. Your mother came to your home.
Oh, let me think. Uh, I think I was about 43. Yeah,
Uh,
around that time. And
so
when she died, my daughter said to me, "You're free now." So to some extent, the responsibility of my mum. But she wasn't hard work. She wasn't a horrible person. But I had to think about her. She was an old
okay.
lady, and I had to take care of her and help her and get people in to help her. So it was a heavy time. But also, my mother was quite strict. So she had very set ideas about how I needed to behave, especially when I was a little girl. So I wasn't allowed to eat an ice cream in the street. So if we bought an ice cream in the summer, by the time I got back to my house, the ice cream was melting, because my mother said it was not a good idea to eat in the street. And so now I eat in the street all the time. It's like my rebellion, I'm not going to be held back by that. And the other thing that I'm thinking about with my mum is she had a very harsh life, and she had a baby before me who was adopted because she was born during the war, and my mother had nowhere to live because the house was bombed. So that has been a very heavy responsibility that has come onto me, because my sister is a very damaged person, and she doesn't like me because I had my mother, and she didn't. She was 4 years old when she was adopted, so it's damaged her. And it's one of the reasons why I became a therapist, because I wanted to help people who had been abandoned and not loved, in a sense. She was loved, but they got very practical during the war. They had to be, well, the best thing for this child is that they're fed and clothed. So maybe that's the Saturn nature of this mother, and the eighth house it's very, in Western astrology, the eighth house is very deep and psychological. And if people have planets in the eighth house in Western astrology, there's always something dark under the surface, So I think you're right in that respect, that my mother's history affected me, because my mother had a very traumatized life, really. But it didn't mean to say that she was completely negative. She liked to have fun, and she loved beautiful things like me, and she was quite wise and spiritual in lots of ways, but she also had limitations because of the life that she'd had and the experiences that she'd had. So I think maybe that's what was lying under the surface and what you were picking up. But you couldn't know the details. You just know there's something a bit restrictive and not very helpful. I don't think I became the best version of myself while my mum was with me. It doesn't mean to say I didn't love her and she didn't love me, but she just held me back. She didn't mean it, but that was the way it worked. So thank you for this. It's really interesting. I think I enjoyed it as much as you enjoyed me doing your chart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like a cake, isn't it? That's what I said before. You just cut the cake another way and you get another layer.
Yeah, it's a good idea for us to do a same chart, yeah. I think that will be very interesting also.
Let's do Donald Trump. I mean, I did have a look at his chart recently, and I thought, I thought this could go either way. He could get divorced, he could lose a lot, he could fall from a great height, but on the other hand, he could actually rise up from the ashes and do something amazing. And I couldn't work out which. All I knew was that it was either going to be a massive collapse or fantastic phoenix. We call it the phoenix rising from the ashes, transformation, all that kind of stuff. So we have yet to see that one, but I know that
we could do the Trump. Yes, exactly.
The next week's very important for him, astrologically, in Western astrology. So we'll make a date. You can contact me and we'll maybe speak at the end of the week or something like that. That'd be good.
Yes. Thank you for listening to my podcast. You could connect with me in arunsyoga.in, where you could see my contact details, including my phone number, my WhatsApp and email ID. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes.